Hey guys, welcome back. So what we're looking at today is 7-3 number sense. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So like I said, we are looking at number sense today. So how can you use number sense for decimal division? You have learned how to estimate when dividing decimals. You can also use number sense to reason about the relative size of the dividend, divisor, and quotient. Use number sense to tell where to place the decimal point in the quotient. How many quarters are in $15.50? So a quarter is 25 cents. So we're taking 15.50 and dividing it by 0.25, just like we see here. Now, in this case, we're looking at the number of place values after zero, or after the decimal, sorry. And so we have this number. So this is if we extended and moved the decimal over in both cases and then divide it. Now, when we take and do that, we get this large, we have larger numbers. So our number seems really big, but we just need to put the decimal into it. So with that being said, we can ignore the zero at the end of the 15.50 because it's at the end. Now, if it were $15.05, then we couldn't. But because it's at the end, we can ignore it when we count these decimals. So we have 1, 2, and 3. Now, if we move it 3 places in here, we aren't actually going to get the accurate amount. So let's see. This is going to help us. So think about the relative size of the dividend and the divisor. Dividing a decimal dividend greater than 1 by a divisor less than 1 gives a quotient greater than the dividend. Since 0.25 is less than 1, the quotient is greater than 15.50. Since there are 4 quarters in a dollar, there are about 4 times 15, which is 60 quarters in 15.50. The decimal point is between the 2 and the 0. So 15.50 divided by 0.25 is 62.0. So when we're dividing and dealing with decimals, it's not quite as simple as just counting the numbers after the decimal, because when, like it says, when we're dividing by a number that's less than 1, so like our 0.25 here, it's going to make our quotient bigger. That will always be the case. If you're dividing by a number less than 1, and so your divisor is less than 1, your dividend is greater than 1, it's going to give you a larger quotient than what you started with. So that's very different from anything we've seen so far. Normally when we divide, we get smaller. So we have to be super careful with that. All right, so we have 7.68 divided by 1.5, and it equals 512. So we need to figure out where this decimal is going to go. Well, if we were taking 7 and dividing it by 1, we would get 5. Or sorry, we would get 7. 7 divided by 1 is 7. I was looking at the 5 here. So we know that it should be around 7, which means our decimal should go right here. So it's 5.12. For the next one, we have 256.5 divided by 2.5 equals 1026. So when we divide these, if we look at it instead as just our 256 divided by 2, 256 divided by 2, 2 can go into 2 once, bring down our 5, 2 can go into 5 twice, bring down our 4, 2 can go into 16 8 times. So 256 divided by 2 is 128. So we know it should be in the 100 range. So that means our decimal is going right. If my pen will work. Hang on. Here. All right. Our next one. We have 1,127.84, and we're we're dividing it by 3.8. So once again, we look at just the 1,127 divided by 3. 27, sorry for the weird lines. 3 can go into 11 3 times. 11 minus 9 is 2. Bring down the 2. We get 22. So we have 7 times. We get 1. We bring down the 7. It can go in 5 times. So 15 with a remainder of 2. So we end up with 375, remainder 2. So we know that we have to figure out where that decimal is going to go now. So 375 is where it is when we're dividing the 1,127 by 3. But this is 3.8. So this is actually closer to 4. So we know it's going to be a big jump. But we know it's going to be in the 200s or 300s or hundreds. So we know we're going to have hundreds for our place values. So our decimal goes right here. So this is all about number sense and understanding the relationships between the dividend and the divisor. So your keyword for this lesson is dividend. Dividend. All right, our last one, we have 196.8 divided by 0.1968, and it equals 1,0,0,0,0. So for this one, this is a unique one. So you hopefully notice that we have 1968, 1968. So when we divided these, it's all about how many times did we have to move the decimal to get from this one to this one. So 1, 2, 3. So that means we're going to be in the thousands. So when your numbers are the same and the decimal's just a different place, it's all about place value. So figuring out how many times did that decimal move, that's what our quotient is. So that thousands, hundreds, tens, so on and so forth.